Hello there, you gorgeous being. How are you? On today's video, I want to talk about what you owe your mom. And the reason I want to talk about this is because for many children of narcissistic, borderline, and sociopathic parents, guilt tripping can be used to maintain a type of control over the child's ability to set him or herself free and, have their own lives, build their own lives according to their own ideals. So there is often that guilt involved in freeing yourself from the way that your mother thinks, the way that your mother wants you to be, and the things that your mother says you owe her. Now, of course, if you observe a mother's work, it is really hard work, and it's really the sort of work that doesn't get the sort of compensation maybe that it should, and mothers in many countries don't really get the sort of support that would really help them be able to properly mother their children. And there are so many psychological revolutionary changes that go on in the woman when she becomes a mother. So all of these things make it exceptionally hard to be a mother, particularly in our society. So that adds to the guilt when you want to break free and have some emotional freedom, right? And psychological freedom and distance from your mom. You're always like, yeah, but look at all of these things that mothers go through. Look at all of these things that my mother went through. What can I really ever do or say that, she won't approve of? How will I ever be at peace with that? So I want to go over a few things so that you have a better idea about this whole owing your mom thing, okay? The first thing I want to say is that you feel what you feel. That's just reality talking. So, and if you feel resentment or guilt with regards to your relationship with your mom, and this is like a constant thing, and if there's other heavy sensations such as loneliness, disconnection, or whatever it is that marks your relationship with your mom, then, nature uses pain, be it psychological or physical, to alert you to something that is against your nature and therefore against what would benefit you the most. So if you're going through psychological pain in a steady, regular way in your relationship with your mom, that is life and your inner guidance system alerting you to the fact that you need to pause and figure out what's wrong and then do something about it so that the pain will stop coming. Because if you don't do anything about it, and many times what it's asking you to do is to create that psychological and or physical distance, with regards to your mom, so that you can figure out who you are and what you want and start building a life that is aligned with those discoveries, So the thing is, it makes sense to use your internal compass as a means to figure out if you should be giving your mom all of these things that she says that you should be giving her. And one of them is attention, your time, and obedience. All right? Because if your actual nature is telling you there's something wrong here, your mom is just a human. And I'm pretty sure your internal guidance system is trying to let you know that blind obedience is not really the natural thing to do at all. And it makes total sense for you to own every bit of what you feel, because the good sensations, the light sensations and the heavy sensations are both going to give you the information that you need to know what step to take next. The second thing I wanted to go over is, just as you feel what you feel, she feels what she feels, and I'm sure by this point you've made already, generally, children of narcissists have made an extraordinary investment in trying to fix their moms or make their moms be happy, and to their dismay, because there's nothing you can do, and it's a lifelong trial of and failure, constant just failure in that department. So the question to ask yourself is, how much more energy will you spend in trying to make her happy, being that really everyone is responsible for their own happiness, for the simple fact that you cannot go into someone's mind and change their decisions and their thought patterns that lead to the creation of their reality. you can't do it. So you can't fix her, and you can't fix the patterns inside her that cause her unhappiness. And it's also not your fault. It's not your fault that she has these patterns, and it's not your fault that you can't fix them, you know? And just as you need to listen to your own pain and figure out what it's trying to tell you about your choices and how you're not aligned with your nature, she needs to listen to her pain, and she needs to go through her process, because that's an individual journey. I can't carry your cross and you can't carry mine. It is what it is. And, you know, treating her like a helpless child, because oftentimes this is an issue, a tactic with narcissists. They will regress to a childlike state. And then you're like, oh man, I got to take care of this child. It's not really helpful to either party, because, you know, how are you evolving or reaching your potential this way? And how is she evolving in any way at all when that's the dynamics of the relationship? So when it comes to responsibilities, emotions, pain, and your destiny, boundaries really must be respected, because these are things that people can only deal with and create individually. So it's important to remember here that there is no health. There can exist no health in a relationship when there are no boundaries, all right? So that's something for you to think about. If this blind obedience means that there are no boundaries between you and your mom, then it seems pretty unhealthy. Now, of course, when you were a baby, it's also important to say that, you know, whether you asked to be born or you didn't ask to be born, I don't know, different people have different beliefs about that. You were a helpless child, and that can't really be held against you for the rest of your life. Like, oh, you came into this planet, you know, someone had to feed you. I mean, you know, when you're healed enough in your life and with regards to the way that you see your mom, you can feel compassion and gratitude for the fact that she was there. She did give you some things, and many of us have many good memories of our childhood times, along with all of the other stuff, you know. And those things can be you can be grateful for them, but that doesn't mean blind obedience. Okay, those are very separate things. And the most, I think, common state for many children of narcissists is for there to be this medley of different emotions, many of them contradictory, existing as this big, weird, happy family. And that's really okay. So you might feel simultaneously anger, confusion, guilt, sadness, love, loneliness with regards to your mom or your dad. And that's okay. All of these things can exist in you at the same time and still mean that you are going to maintain distance, because your self needs to be identified, built, cultivated, you know, nurtured. Now, having said all of this, there are, of course, legal duties in every different country that children have with regards to their parents. So you're going to want to find out what those legal duties are. And again, this does not necessarily mean that you need to have emotional interaction or intimacy with your parents. Legally in Brazil, for example, that is not at all a law. Of course, you need to, like, you know, give your mom a place to live and feed her and all of those things if you're capable of doing so, but within reasonable legal limits. And it makes sense if you want to take care of her but not have that blind obedience thing going on and that proximity going on, to figure out what these legal issues are and what the distance that you need in order for you to be healthy and flourish. Okie dokie. So that's what I wanted to talk about today. And I'm also looking for a small group of people, maybe 4 to 6 people, to be part of my first English version of my program, Inner Mastery.